Hey everyone, it's me, Aggie, and I am going to be starting you off with how to start your painting. So I'm preloading some of this content in because it's going to take more than one hour class to teach you how to paint this design. And I didn't want to rush through it or leave anything out. So I'm going to break it down into a couple of videos that I put in here for you. And then on the class night where we're talking about the painting, that's when I will, kind of present this video, these videos again. So what I want to do with you in this session is I'm going to take you into the classroom and show you a download that I made to help you get started. It's called Starting the Painting. And let me just share my screen and show you where this is so that you can get it. And if you're watching this on replay, type that in the comments and say hello to me. All right, so here we are. We are inside of the group. And when you first go in, you land in the discussion area, the feed where everybody can post. And if you want to just see class content only, you would click on the guide tab. But since I know where this is, I just posted it. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. And there it is. It's called What to Post First. So, you can click on this and save this as a photo to your phone or computer. Or like I said, we can go back up to the guide tab. And it puts me into guide 1, which has the PDFs and the tracer. Guide 2 is supplies. Guide 3 is about color mixing. And I'd like for you to look through these images. The main thing we're going to be doing is focusing on creating a strong focal point in our painting. That is the number one thing that's missing in a lot of paintings that I see on social media. So this class is going to teach you how to do that. And one of the main ways you do it is with saturated color and desaturated color. So saturated color is the color right out of the tube in its purest form without anything else mixed into it. That's the strongest, purest, most vibrant form of that color. And of course, things don't really look that vibrant in reality. But with flowers, we can go crazy and have a lot of high saturated pinks and reds. But to make the focal point flower stand out, we have to desaturate the other colors. So in these images, I'm sharing with you what little mixes you're going to create, like blues and grays, and a tiny little bit of that goes into your pink mixture to desaturate it. That's what we're going to be doing. And I'm going to go into more depth on that when we actually do the painting. For now, I just want you to look through this guide and kind of get a rough idea of what I'm talking about. So here I decided to desaturate my pinks. So I've got white plus quinacridone magenta, or you can use primary magenta, whichever magenta you want to use. But I created 3 blue mixes, one with white and ultramarine blue, one with white and phthalo blue green shade, and one with Payne's gray and a brown. It was burnt umber light. And from those 3 blue mixes, I was able to create these beautiful, subtle nuances in my pinks. And that's what makes all the difference. People want to learn color mixing, and this is what goes into it. So anyway, when it comes to our reds, our warmer orangey reds, we're going to use greens to desaturate those. But I'm not going to get into that right now. I want you to go to this where it says what to paint first, and I want you to download this. So you can get it as a PDF. Let's see. If you go back to the tabs, if I go back to the top, there's a couple different ways to do it. You can just, hold your finger down on the picture if you're seeing the picture of it, the JPEG file, and save it to your phone. Or if you want to get the PDF, you go to the Files tab, go back to the top, of the group and click on the Files tab, and you'll see all the different files in there that I've put in there for you. And this one is called SFC, Spring Floral Challenge, What to Paint First. And you just download that and you can print it out or just look at it on your device. So that's where you get it from. All right, enough about that. Let me stop sharing my screen. Go back to StreamYard. Okay, so here we are. Hi, Barb. All right, I'm going to make my picture of me smaller, and I'm going to go over to my desktop, and I'm going to talk about the very first things that we're going to do to get started with our painting. Yay! So I have already prepared this surface. I painted a coat of GAC 100, like a wood, like a sealer that helps prevent later on when we go to resin this, that helps seal the wood. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Hi. And so I did a sealer first. Any acrylic sealer is fine. You don't even really have to do sealer. You can do 2 coats of paint. I like using white sealing paint because it's cheap and it makes a really nice surface. So I did 2 coats of sealing paint. Then I taped my sides, and you want to take your time getting the tape down all the way into the nice clean line edge there. Okay, get that all taped in nice and secure. Then you're going to trace your design. And if the lines are too crazy dark, mine are a little darker so that you can see them on camera. But if your lines are really, really dark, I suggest you lighten them up with your kneaded eraser, a kneaded rubber eraser. Okay. So after you've done that, you are ready for this step. And what I want you to do is grab this that I just showed you where to get it from. I want you to grab this and print it out so that you can refer to it. This is like your guide on how to start the painting. Okay. So all we're going to do in this video today, right now, we're going to paint our lines. So the very first picture that you see right here, let me go over into this camera. This picture that you see right here, doesn't really show that well, is what we're going to do right now. I'm going to create a mixture of watery purple with blue and magenta and my thin little liner brush, and I'm going to trace all those lines on here. And that way I don't have to worry about losing them as I'm painting, because a lot of people, especially beginners, they get nervous about losing their drawing, and I don't want you to worry about losing all these little stem shapes down here that you took the time to draw on there, okay? So here is my styrofoam plate that I'm going to use as my palette, and I'm just going to get a little squirt of blue. I'm using phthalo blue green shade. Whatever blue you want to use is fine. And then I'm going to get my magenta. I'm using primary magenta. Whatever magenta you want to use is fine. I'm going to add a bunch of water to this. Let me I should get my spray brush out. I mean my spray bottle out. Bunch of water. It's easier to paint lines when you've got a nice watery mixture. That might have been too much water actually, but whatever. Okay, so there we go. I've got myself a nice purple, right? I could even add a little bit of white to this maybe. And I'm using gesso for my white. This is just gesso from Hobby Lobby. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to start painting my lines on here, and I'm just going to literally paint right over all of these lines. And it's going to help you to have these lines in here for later on when you go to paint in our C shapes. And you know, I would say don't even worry if it's not exactly on there. It'll be okay. I missed that line a little bit, but that's okay. So this is probably going to be a little bit boring, but bear with me. it's part of the process. It's kind of necessary, and it's going to help you so much later to have this all done. This is going to be 2 of my little buds here. I'm going to go ahead and put this one on too. And if you have shaky hands, it's totally fine. It might even make your flowers look better. This is my focal point flower. I want it to look like it's tucked behind this one. You know, and if you wanted to, you could certainly paint even more, more lines in between. Because they do have a lot of petals tightly packed together. But don't belabor it. This is all really going to get covered up for the most part. And it's easier to paint lines if you've got a nice fluid mixture. This flower is really big. Okay, so now we're down by the stems here and the outline of my vase. Just want to try and be a little more accurate for this. I like to stabilize my wrist. Now, you know, you don't have to paint with your painting flat like this if you don't want to. You could certainly put it on an easel. It's totally up to you. There's no really right or wrong way to do it. Here's what my mixtures look like. I put way too much paint out, but that's okay. Okay, so something like that. Let's see if there's any questions from you guys so far or any comments or anything. No, looks like there isn't. Okay, good. If you've got any questions at all, throw them in the chat there, please. I'm gonna go a little bit darker for this line. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll turn, you know, if it's awkward, you can always turn your panel. Oh, I don't know how I was so steady on those strokes, but okay, I'll take it. I like it. I like it. Okay, that's probably pretty good. All right, so that is it, really. If you wanted to kind of have a slight indication of maybe a stem here, you can put a little something there. These, you know, and maybe like some kind of hint of a leaf. Okay. And really, that is it. I'm pretty sure that is all I need to do for the lines. Let me look at this. Yeah, you can kind of see how I put the little hints of leaves there. And that's it for this step. So what we're going to do now is dry this. So rinse your brush out. And, you know, we could probably reuse this paint. So I would say put a lid on it so it doesn't get all dry on you right away. And we're going to grab a blow dryer or a heat gun and dry this off so that we can put our ground layer color on. If you have a thick glob of paint anywhere, like right here, I've got a kind of a dab of paint that's gonna take too long to dry. What I like to do is just press on it with a paper towel so that I don't have to wait forever for that to dry. But hopefully you didn't paint too thick or leave any thick globs anywhere. So I'm gonna grab my heat gun, pardon the noise. Of course, when you do this, you want to keep it moving and you want to keep it a good at least 6-8 inches away from the painting so that you don't burn the paint. Okay, so we know it's all dry. If you're able to run your fingers across it, it's totally dry. And that's what we want. And now we are ready to put our ground layer in. And so that's just really like a soft peach color. You want it to be transparent. You would not want to use like a raw sienna. You want to use something like, you could use maybe Indian yellow, or just your transparent yellow that you might, any transparent yellow that you have. I'm going to use, this isn't transparent, but it's okay. I'm going to use my Hansa Yellow Opaque. And again, you don't have to use my fluid mediums. You could totally use heavy body paints, whatever you've got. So I've got a little bit of primary magenta and a little bit of yellow. And then I'm going to take a lot of water and just make it this kind of peachy color. Yellow-orange color, I guess. And I'm just going to start putting that on here. And that's going to be my ground color. You know, it kind of takes away the fear of the dreaded white canvas, right? You can let it drip if you want, but you know, it's really just going to establish like a harmonizing background color for us. And you paint that over the entire thing. I'm going to maybe make it a little bit darker, pinker, more opaque. You know, maybe right here, maybe in this corner, maybe this lower corner. I don't know. This is kind of where my darks are going to go. And that's it. Now we're going to let this dry, and we're going to be ready for the next step, which is mixing our colors, which I'm going to do on a separate video. All right, so this is how you would get your painting completely started. And it's okay that we see variation in there. That's not going to be a problem at all. So let me bring it over here to this camera. Not too hard, right? Oh, who's saying this? Thank you so much for sharing that. Hobby Lobby has their wooden cradle boards in the spring section 40% off. That is awesome. Yay! We love it when that happens. So you can already see from making the slightly darker tone in the bottom of the vase that it helps already with establishing a little bit of form and value. Thanks, Lisa. All right, this is your first step. Go do this so that you're all ready to start with us. Okay, see you on the next video.